My sister threw my daughter's birthday cake in the trash because her son didn't like the flavor and demanded that we buy another one he liked. My name is Vera, and I never thought I'd physically drag my own sister out of my house while 25 kids watched. But here we are. Look, before you judge me, let me explain what happened at my daughter's 8th birthday party 3 weeks ago. I'd been planning this party for months. My daughter had become obsessed with pineapples after watching some cartoon, so naturally she wanted a pineapple-themed party. I went all out. Pineapple balloons, tropical decorations. Even ordered a custom 3-tier pineapple cake from a specialty bakery for $280. Yes, I know that's ridiculous. My husband told me I was being extra. But my kid deserved something special. Party was set for 2 p.m. I had the whole class invited, plus neighborhood kids. Rented a bounce house, hired a face painter, the works. Everything was perfect. My sister was supposed to arrive at 1:30 to help set up. She's got a 6-year-old son who's challenging. That's the polite way to say he's the most spoiled kid I've ever met, but I'm trying not to be completely harsh here. She's a single mom, and I think she overcompensates by giving him everything he wants. 1:30 came and went. 2 o'clock arrived, no sister. Kids started showing up, and I was running around solo because my husband's not exactly party planning material. By 2:15, I'd called her 3 times with no answer. She finally showed up at 2:45, 45 minutes late. No apology. Just walked in with her son trailing behind, looking like someone canceled Christmas. I should have known something was wrong right then. I was organizing a game when I heard my daughter scream. Not a fun scream, a genuine cry of distress. I ran to the kitchen, and there was my sister, holding my beautiful 3-tier pineapple cake over the trash can. "What are you doing?" I yelled. She looked at me with this blank expression. "He doesn't like pineapple. He wants chocolate." I stared at her. "What?" "My son doesn't like pineapple. You should have asked what he wanted. I need money to go buy a chocolate cake right now." Before I could process what was happening, she dropped it. Just dropped the entire cake into the trash. It hit the bottom with this horrible splat. Frosting exploded everywhere. Floor, cabinets, even the window. My daughter burst into tears, full body sobbing. Her friends stood frozen with their mouths open. I looked at my sister and felt something inside me snap. Not just anger, years of accumulated resentment breaking through like a dam giving way. "Get out," I said. My voice was shaking. "Don't be so dramatic," she rolled her eyes. "It's just a cake. Give me $200 and I'll get a proper one." That's when I grabbed her arm and started dragging her toward the door. She fought me, trying to pull away, but I didn't care. I was stronger than I thought. Her son was following us, wailing at the top of his lungs. I got her onto the front porch, and that's when I let everything out. 31 years of being invisible, of watching her get everything while I got nothing. I told her she was selfish, that she was raising a spoiled brat, that she was a terrible mother. She tried to slap me. I caught her wrist and shoved her. She fell on the lawn. And that's when my parents pulled up. Before I get to what my parents said, I need to explain our history. Because otherwise, you'll think I'm just someone who attacks family over cake. And while yes, I did attack my family over cake, there's decades of context here. Growing up, my sister was the golden child. I'm not exaggerating. She literally could do no wrong. I was 3 years older, and from the moment she was born, I basically ceased to exist in my parents' eyes. When I was 12, I saved 6 months of allowance to buy a pet rabbit. I did research, prepared a habitat, was so responsible. I named him Peanut, and loved that rabbit more than anything. 3 months later, my sister decided she wanted to hang out in my room more because it had better light. Turned out she was allergic to rabbit fur. Not deathly allergic, just sniffly. My parents gave away my rabbit while I was at school. Donated him to some family across town. When I came home crying, my mom said I was being selfish and that family comes first. That was the pattern. Over and over. My sister wanted something, my sister got it, regardless of what it cost me. When I was 15, I was supposed to have a quinceañera. My mom's Mexican, and it was a huge deal. We'd been planning for over a year. My parents had saved $5,000. 2 weeks before the party, my sister threw a fit because she wanted to go on a school trip to Europe. The trip cost $4,000. My quinceañera got canceled. They used my party money for her trip and told me we'd celebrate small with family. We went to a chain restaurant. They brought out a cupcake with a candle. My sister posted pictures from Paris while I cried in my room. The worst part wasn't the big stuff. It was being invisible. When I made honor roll every semester, they'd say good job and move on. When my sister got a B instead of her usual C, They'd take her out for ice cream and post about being proud. When I won a regional science fair, my parents couldn't attend because they had to watch my sister's middle school play where she was background townsperson number 3. I got into college on partial scholarship, worked my ass off with a part-time job and student loans to cover the rest. My sister barely graduated high school, didn't go to college, moved back home where my parents supported her for years. Did they ever offer to help with my loans? What do you think? When she got pregnant at 22, my parents practically threw a parade. Never mind the guy disappeared. Never mind she had no job. No plan. They converted their guest room into a nursery. When I got pregnant 2 years later, married, financially stable, with a career, my mom said, "Oh, that's nice. Will this interfere with you babysitting your sister's son?" I love my nephew. I do. But he's been raised with zero boundaries, and it shows. Every time I'm around him, it's a nightmare. He destroys things, hits other kids, screams when he doesn't get his way. My sister thinks discipline is cruel. She's raising a miniature version of herself. I've tried talking to my parents. They tell me I'm judgmental, that I need to be understanding, that my sister had a hard path and needs support. What about my hard path? So when I grabbed my sister's arm at that party, it wasn't about a cake. It was about 31 years of being treated like my feelings didn't matter. It was about watching my daughter's face crumple the same way mine had crumpled dozens of times. It was about being done. Finally. Completely done. So there I was on my front lawn with my sister sprawled on the grass, her son screaming, and my parents pulling into the driveway. Perfect timing. The universe has a sick sense of humor. My dad jumped out. "What's going on? Why is your sister on the ground?" "Ask her why she threw my daughter's birthday cake in the trash," I said, pointing at my sister. My mom was already helping her up, brushing grass off her pants, asking if she was okay. My sister immediately started crying. Not angry crying, but this pathetic, wounded crying. "She attacked me! She dragged me out of the house and pushed me down." Is this true? My dad looked at me with that expression of disappointment I'd seen a million times growing up. "She destroyed my daughter's birthday cake because her son doesn't like pineapple." "It was just a cake," my mom said. "Did you really need to get violent over a cake?" Just a cake. Those 3 words made everything click. Nothing had changed. Nothing would ever change. "Get off my property," I said. "All of you, right now. We're not going anywhere until you apologize to your sister," my dad said. Apologize? She showed up late, threw away $300 worth of cake, demanded I pay for a replacement, and you want me to apologize? "You pushed her down," my mom said. "She tried to slap me first." I was defending myself. Party guests were definitely watching through the windows now. Some had come outside. This was a full-blown spectacle, and I didn't care anymore. "You've always been jealous of her," my sister said through her tears. "Always. You can't stand that people actually like me." I laughed. It came out harsh and bitter. "People like you? You can't keep a job, you can't keep friends. You're a 33-year-old woman living off our parents because you've never faced a single consequence for anything you've done." "That's enough," my dad said, his voice rising. "Your sister is going through a difficult time. She's always going through a difficult time. That's her entire personality, and you two enable it constantly." "We support our children," my mom said. "Both of you. Equally." Equally? I felt something break inside me. You missed my high school graduation to take her shopping. You missed my college graduation because she had a headache. You've given her thousands of dollars and never offered me a cent. Where's the equality? My sister was crying harder now. "See? She's attacking me again. She's always attacking me." "I'm stating facts," I said. "Facts you all refuse to acknowledge because it's easier to pretend everything's fine than admit you raised a narcissist." My dad stepped forward. "You need to apologize to your sister right now or we're done. You'll be choosing to cut yourself off from this family." I looked at my parents, at my sister behind them with her crocodile tears, at the life I'd spent 3 decades trying to fit into, trying to earn love from people who'd never really seen me. "Then we're done," I said. "Get off my property or I'm calling the police." They left. I went back inside where my husband had ordered pizza and somehow salvaged the party. My daughter had an okay time eventually. But that night, after everyone was gone and she was finally asleep, I sat in my kitchen looking at cake chunks still stuck to my walls and realized my family was never going to change. The only thing I could change was whether I kept letting them hurt me. That's when my phone buzzed with a notification. My sister had posted a video on social media, And suddenly, things got so much worse. The video my sister posted showed me dragging her through my house and shoving her on the lawn. But it started right when I grabbed her. No context, no cake in the trash, no her demanding money. Just me looking like an absolute psycho attacking my innocent sister. The caption, "I can't believe my own sister physically assaulted me at her daughter's birthday party. She dragged me out in front of all those children and pushed me down. I'm shaking and my son is traumatized. Should I press charges? I never thought family would treat me this way." The comments were already rolling in, hundreds of them. "Oh my God, what a psycho. That's abuse. Definitely press charges. Those poor children witnessing violence. Someone should check on that kid." My hands shook as I scrolled. Already shares. Lots of them. People I didn't know commenting about what a terrible person I was. I tried commenting to explain, but she'd blocked me. Can't have my side interfering with her victim narrative. I texted her, "Take down that video. You know that's not what happened." No response. "You threw my daughter's cake in the trash and demanded money. You're leaving out the entire story." Nothing. My husband found me at midnight still scrolling. "You need to stop looking at that. She's making me look like a monster. Everyone thinks I attacked her for no reason. Everyone who matters knows the truth." But that was the thing. Most people at the party were kids. The parents who were there? I didn't have their contact info. No way to reach them for backup. By morning, 10,000 views. 10,000 people who thought I was abusive. I spent that morning documenting everything. Photos of cake remains in my trash. Photos of splatter on my walls. Screenshots of messages confirming party time. Doorbell footage showing her arriving 45 minutes late. I made my own post with all the evidence, explaining what actually happened. Kept my daughter's face out of it, but made sure people understood this wasn't random violence. This was consequences for destroying something special for a child. The response was mixed. Some supportive comments. Others accused me of making up stories to cover abuse. The worst said even if she did throw away the cake, that didn't justify violence. And they weren't entirely wrong. I know I shouldn't have grabbed her. I know. But with my daughter crying and my sister acting entitled, something broke. My sister's response. Now she's making up stories to justify her violence. Classic abuser behavior. Attack someone, then blame them for making you do it. I'm honestly scared for her family. The internet ate it up. People choosing sides. My husband's friends messaging him. My coworkers saw it. My boss saw it. I got pulled into an HR meeting about my home situation. Humiliating doesn't even cover it. 3 days of nonstop comments, shares, arguments between strangers. I'd posted doorbell footage showing her arriving late. She'd posted screenshots of old texts claiming they showed my pattern of hostility. The texts were things like, "Can you give me more notice for babysitting?" and "I can't lend you money right now." Apparently, boundaries equal hostility. Some party parents reached out privately saying they supported me. One mom commented on my sister's video backing up my story. My sister called her my flying monkey, helping me abuse her. It would have been funny if it wasn't destroying my life. Then came the family intervention. 1 week after the party, someone rang my doorbell. I looked through the peephole and saw my parents. Behind them, my aunt, uncle, 2 cousins, and my grandmother. 7 people on my porch like some intervention SWAT team. I opened the door. "What's going on?" "We need to talk about your behavior," my dad said. I should have closed the door. But that stupid part of me that spent 31 years seeking approval let them in. They arranged themselves in my living room like a courtroom. My grandmother sat center. Everyone flanked her. My husband was upstairs with our daughter, so I faced this alone. "This has gone too far," my mom started. "The social media posts, the arguing, attacking your sister." "I didn't attack her. She destroyed my daughter's cake and I removed her from my house." "You pushed her down," my uncle said. "We saw the video. She tried to slap me first. She fell when I shoved her away." "Still violence," my aunt said. No excuse for family violence. I looked around. Did anyone ask her about the cake? About why I was upset? She said it was just a cake, my mom said. Even if it wasn't, your reaction was disproportionate. You need to apologize publicly. Take down your posts. Admit you overreacted. Ask forgiveness. I laughed. Actually laughed. You want me to apologize for being upset she destroyed something special for my daughter? You're acting like the victim, my dad said. But you got physical. You keep escalating online. Your sister is afraid of you. My sister is a manipulative liar who's been the golden child her entire life and can't handle someone finally standing up to her. Silence. My grandmother cleared her throat. That's enough. I didn't raise you to be cruel. Your sister has had a hard life. No, I stood up. Her life hasn't been hard. She's never faced consequences because you all enable her constantly. You know why she's a single mom? She got pregnant thinking it'd make a guy stay. You know why she can't keep a job? She starts drama everywhere until she's fired. You know why her son acts out? She doesn't parent him at all. That's horrible to say about your nephew, my mom gasped. It's true. And you all know it, but keep bailing her out and making excuses while I've had to work for everything. My cousin, one I'd been close with, spoke up. I mean, she's not entirely wrong. Everyone stared. She shrugged. Come on. We all know my aunt has always babied her. We've talked about it. That's not the point, my dad said quickly. When's the last time you came to my daughter's school events? I interrupted. Or asked about my job? Or congratulated me on anything? But when my sister needs rent money for the 4th time this year, you all pool together. Where was family solidarity when I worked full-time through college? You didn't need help, my mom said. You've always been so capable. Because I had to be. Otherwise, I'd have ended up like her, useless and dependent. My aunt stood. She's clearly not ready for rational conversation. Wait, another cousin said. I want to hear this. Why does she get away with everything? My grandmother sighed. Because she's not strong like you, Vera. She needs more support. There it was. Finally said out loud. I wasn't given support because I was strong enough not to need it. Get out, I said quietly. All of you. They left arguing amongst themselves. My husband found me afterward shaking on the couch. But something had shifted. For the first time, cracks appeared in the family's unified front. After the intervention disaster, I did something probably petty. I started investigating my sister's past. Not stalking, just reaching out to people I knew she'd had conflicts with, asking what happened. I found a pattern, a very clear pattern of her starting problems, playing victim, and walking away while everything burned. Her former roommate from 5 years ago responded to my message within an hour. Paragraphs about how my sister moved in needing a month or two, stayed 8 months without paying rent, ate her food, used her car without asking. When confronted, posted online about being made homeless by someone she thought was a friend. The roommate lost mutual friends before truth came out. Her high school best friend told similar stories. Sister borrowed her car, got in an accident, claimed the friend forced her to drive in unsafe conditions. Their whole friend group took my sister's side for months until someone discovered she'd taken the car without permission. I contacted 3 former coworkers. All said the same. Sister started jobs enthusiastic, then gradually created drama. Accused coworkers of bullying, claimed managers treated her unfairly, said she was discriminated against for being a single mom. At one job, filed harassment complaints about an employee who'd asked her to actually work. Got fired and posted rants about toxic work culture. Most damning, her son's former daycare. Ran into the director at the supermarket. She hesitated, then spilled. My sister had been kicked out, not her son, her. She'd linger for hours after drop-off, treating it like a co-working space. When asked to leave, claimed they were separating her from her son, affecting her mental health. Started showing up to other kids' birthday parties uninvited. When banned, posted scathing reviews about hostility towards single mothers. I compiled everything, screenshots, emails, statements, organized it into a document longer than my college thesis. What are you going to do with this? My husband asked, finding me typing at 11 p.m. I don't know, but I'm tired of being the only one who sees who she really is. Babe, I'm worried you're becoming obsessed. He wasn't wrong, but I felt like I was finally seeing clearly. Years wondering if I was the problem. Too sensitive, too harsh, too judgmental. Now I had proof. She'd left a trail of burned bridges and hurt people, and every time escaped accountability by playing victim. I sent the document to extended family. Subject line, the pattern, mixed responses. Some didn't respond. A few said they didn't want involvement. But several sent thoughtful replies. My cousin from the intervention. I always knew something was off. This makes sense. An aunt I barely knew. Your uncle and I lent her over $6,000, never paid back a cent. Your parents made us feel petty for mentioning it. Most surprisingly, my grandmother called. I read your document. Why didn't you tell us before? Would you have believed me? Long pause. Probably not. Your sister has always been good at explaining things to look innocent. That's called lying, Grandma. Another pause. I need to think. But Vera, I'm sorry we made you feel invisible. That wasn't fair. Not the full acknowledgement I wanted, but something. More than I'd ever gotten. That night I posted, I've learned about family patterns this week. About how dysfunction perpetuates because people prefer status quo over confronting uncomfortable truths. I'm done being comfortable. Done being silent. Done apologizing for boundaries. My sister's response came fast. And I'm done being abused by someone who's supposed to love me. Comments turned into a battlefield. But this time something different happened. People who knew her started commenting with their own stories. Nothing detailed, vague references to similar experiences, and I've seen this pattern. The tide was turning, slowly, painfully, but turning. Then karma came for my sister through her own son's behavior. 2 weeks after my daughter's disaster party, karma hit my sister through her son. And look, I feel guilty saying that because he's just a kid and none of this is his fault. But what happened was both vindicating and horrifying. My nephew attends private school. My parents pay because public school wasn't good enough. They had a spring fair with games and food trucks. I heard about it from a friend whose son is in his grade. According to multiple witnesses, and eventually local news because yes, it made the news, my nephew completely lost it. Some ring toss game where you win prizes. He didn't win. The prize he wanted was a stuffed animal, and when he didn't get it, he started screaming. Not crying. Screaming. Full volume, red-faced, veins popping, screaming. My sister demanded the volunteer running the game just give him the prize because he's having a hard day. When the volunteer said no, that's not how games work. My nephew grabbed the prize and ran. The volunteer followed to get it back. My sister got in her face yelling about discrimination against single mothers and kids from difficult backgrounds. His background is spoiled rotten, but sure. Other kids saw him take the prize and started chanting, "Cheater, cheater." My nephew responded by picking up a plastic baseball bat from the games area and hitting a kid. Hard enough the kid needed ice pack and parents called. When a teacher tried taking the bat, my nephew bit her. Bit her hand hard enough to break skin. School security got involved. Took him to the principal's office while my sister followed screaming about lawsuits and discrimination. The whole thing got captured on multiple phones. By evening, it was all over local social media. My friend sent me a link. Isn't this your nephew? I watched 3 times. Worse than imagined. You could see his face red and contorted with rage, completely out of control. My sister not calming him but defending his behavior, blaming everyone else. You could hear her screaming, "He has special needs. You're all ableist." For the record, he doesn't have special needs. Never been diagnosed. He's just never been taught actions have consequences. The video got hundreds of comments. People appalled. General consensus, child needs help. Mother failing him. Several people who'd seen my sister's posts about me pointed out the irony. Here she was calling me abusive while her son literally hit other children. School called emergency meeting. Suspension for a week. Required psychological evaluation before return. Permanently banned from school events unless directly supervised. My sister went nuclear. Posted long rant about targeting her son, trying to label him troubled to justify ableist policies, considering legal action. Set up fundraiser for legal fees to fight educational discrimination. The fundraiser raised $73. Her previous I Was Assaulted fundraiser had raised nearly $2,000. The tide was definitely turning. My parents called me for the first time since intervention. Did you see what happened to your nephew? I did. He's going through tough times. Your sister needs support, not judgment. Mom, he attacked another child and bit a teacher. That's not tough times. That's serious behavioral problems needing professional help. Well, if you hadn't traumatized him by attacking his mother, I'm hanging up now. And I did. Actually hung up on my mother. Terrifying and liberating. That night, I got a message from unknown number. The teacher my nephew bit. She'd found my social media somehow. I saw your posts about your sister. I wanted you to know I believe you. I've been teaching 15 years and dealt with difficult parents, but your sister is something else. Her son desperately needs help and she refuses to see it. You're not crazy. You're not abusive. You're the only one in that family who sees reality clearly. I stared at that message for a long time. Validation from a stranger shouldn't have meant so much. But it did. It really did. And things were about to get much worse. 3 days after the school incident, things escalated. It was 2:17 in the morning. I know the exact time because I checked my phone when someone started pounding on my door. Not knocking, pounding, like trying to break it down. My husband shot up. What the hell? I grabbed my phone and pulled up the doorbell camera. My sister on our porch, clearly drunk, stumbling, hair a mess, mascara running, hitting the door with both fists, yelling something I couldn't make out. It's my sister. She's drunk. I'm calling the police, my husband said, reaching for his phone. Wait. Some stupid ingrained sense that you don't call cops on family. I pulled up two-way audio. What do you want? Her face appeared close to camera, distorted and wild-eyed. I want to talk. Like adults. Let me in. You're drunk. Go home. I'm not drunk. I had 2 drinks. Stop making me seem crazy. She definitely wasn't slurring badly, but her eyes were unfocused, movements exaggerated. Whether 2 drinks or 10, she was in no condition for productive conversation. Go home or I'm calling police. Call them! Call them so they can see how you abuse me, how you've turned everyone against me. She kicked the door. Actually kicked it hard enough I heard something crack. My husband was already on with emergency services. I switched camera to record. My sister completely lost it, screaming about how I'd ruined her life, poisoned family against her, that I was terrible and had always been jealous. She kicked the door twice more, leaving scuff marks and cracks. Then she noticed the camera, got right up close and yelled at the lens. You think you're so perfect. You're not. You're a bitch and everyone knows it. Your daughter's going to grow up hating you. That one hurt. Really hurt. My daughter appeared in our doorway. Mommy, what's that noise? It's nothing, sweetie. Go back to bed. Is that Auntie? I hesitated. Yes, but she's leaving soon. Go back to your room. My husband guided her out while I watched camera. My sister had moved to our window trying to look inside. When that didn't work, picked up a decorative rock from landscaping. For a horrible second, I thought she'd throw it through the window. She just held it, swaying. Police arrived 7 minutes after the call. I watched through camera as they pulled up, lights flashing. My sister immediately dropped the rock and started crying. Not angry crying, pitiful victim crying. Thank God you're here. My sister locked me out and I just wanted to talk. I think she's having a mental health crisis. I'm worried about my niece. I couldn't believe it. I opened the door and stepped out. 2 officers stood with my sister. Are you the homeowner? The male officer asked. Yes, she's my sister. Showed up drunk at 2 a.m. attacking my door. I'm not drunk. I had 2 glasses of wine hours ago. She's lying because she hates me. Ma'am, have you been drinking? The female officer asked. I told you, just 2 glasses. I need you to take a breathalyzer. My sister's face cycled through anger. Panic, calculation. I don't have to. I'm not driving. You're on someone's property at 2 a.m., damaging their door after they called about your behavior. Take the test voluntarily or we take you in for public intoxication and trespassing. She looked at me with pure hatred. This is what you wanted. To humiliate me. I wanted to sleep without being terrorized, I said. She failed. BAC.13, well over legal driving limit. Officers arrested her for public intoxication, trespassing, vandalism. Asked if I wanted to file additional charges. I said yes to everything. As they put her in the car, she screamed about false arrest and brutality. The female officer gave me her card. You should get a restraining order. This isn't normal sibling conflict. This is escalating harassment. After they left, my husband and I stood looking at the damaged door. Scuff marks, cracks in wood. Doorbell camera captured everything. We're getting that restraining order, he said. Not a question. Yeah, we are. My mother bailed my sister out by 6 a.m. Found out she'd posted bail and brought her to their house where she was recovering from trauma of being arrested. The trauma she brought entirely on herself, but facts have never been my family's strong suit. I filed for the restraining order, submitted video evidence, neighbor statements, court date set for 2 weeks out. I tried to just live my life. Work, take care of my daughter, pretend everything was normal. Worked for exactly 4 days. I was at my office, medical billing, thrilling stuff, when the receptionist called. Vera, your parents are here. They say they'll wait. My stomach dropped. Of course they'd come to my workplace. Nothing was sacred. I should have stayed in my cubicle. Should have called security. Instead, I walked out. My parents stood with identical expressions of disappointment and determination. We need to talk, my father said. Not here. This is my workplace. Then you should have answered our calls, my mother said. I'd blocked their numbers 2 days ago. I didn't mention that. Come outside. Parking lot. 92 degrees and humid. Missouri late spring is basically a swamp. Sweating through my blouse immediately. My parents didn't notice the heat. Too focused on their mission. You need to drop this restraining order, my dad started. It's not nonsense. She showed up drunk at 2 a.m. and damaged my property. She was upset. She made a mistake. That's what family does. Forgive mistakes. A mistake is forgetting a birthday. Showing up drunk at 2 in the morning attacking someone's door is assault and vandalism. You're being dramatic, my mother said. As usual. You know what this is doing to her? She's devastated. She's talking about... Paused, lowered voice. Hurting herself. Nuclear option. Thing my sister always threatened when not getting her way. I'd heard variations my whole life. Emotional manipulation 101. If she's genuinely suicidal, she needs to be hospitalized getting professional help, not living with you while you enable her. We are not enabling, my father snapped. We're supporting her through difficult times. You've been supporting her through difficult times for 33 years. When does it end? Co-workers walking past. Definitely listening. This would be all over the office tomorrow. You're destroying this family, my mother said, tears welling. We used to be close. Now you're tearing us apart over what? A cake? Online arguments? She threw away my daughter's birthday cake, then showed up at 2 a.m. How is this my fault? Because you won't forgive. You hold grudges. You've always been like this. So rigid, so unforgiving. I wonder why. Maybe growing up invisible while you worshipped her? My father stepped forward. That's not fair. We've always treated you equally. I laughed, harsh and bitter. Dad, you missed my high school graduation to take her shopping. Missed my college graduation because she had a headache. You've lent her tens of thousands and never given me a cent. Equal? She needed help more. No, she demanded help more. There's a difference. Impasse. Parking lot standoff. My mother crying. Father looking like he wanted to hit something. I just felt tired. That's when my mom said it. We can't afford this. If you pursue the restraining order, your sister needs therapy, maybe a lawyer. We're stretched thin with her rent, school tuition, bills. Wait, you're still paying her rent? They exchanged looks. She lost her job last month. The school thing made it impossible. We've been helping temporarily. How much per month? Another look. Not your business, my mother said. How much? About $3,000, my father admitted. Rent, bills, groceries, tuition. $3,000 a month. For how long? 8 months, but it's temporary. It's always temporary. 33 years of temporary. Then I understood. The real reason they were here. You can't afford legal fees if you keep supporting her. That's what this is. You're broke from enabling her and need me to back off. My father's face told me everything. We thought you could help contribute, my mother said carefully. She's really struggling and you have a good job. Get out of my parking lot. They left. I went to HR, requested a note barring them from the building. That evening, email from my mother. Subject, please read. Long email about family values, forgiveness, Christian charity. Attached spreadsheet showing money given to my sister over 3 years. $68,000 in 3 years. And they'd never offered me a cent. Restraining order hearing, Tuesday morning, 9 a.m. I'd hired a lawyer. Nothing fancy, just competent family law. He reviewed my evidence and called it a slam dunk, which should have been comforting but just made me nervous. I dressed professionally, took the day off, met my lawyer at 8:30. My husband came for moral support. We sat in the waiting area and I kept checking my phone with nowhere to message. Just nervous energy. At 8:50, my sister arrived. With my parents and a lawyer of her own. Of course she had a lawyer. My parents must have maxed out credit cards or taken a loan, all to defend her right to harass me at 2 a.m. She looked rough. Not saying that out of pettiness. She genuinely looked unwell. Dark circles, hair in messy ponytail, dress that looked grabbed from the back of her closet. Her lawyer, in contrast, looked extremely professional. Expensive suit, designer briefcase. Where'd they find money for this? We didn't make eye contact. My parents shot me looks, half anger, half desperation. I ignored them. At 9 exactly, called into courtroom. Judge was a woman in her 50s who looked like she'd heard too many ridiculous cases already and wasn't in the mood for nonsense. My lawyer went first, presented doorbell footage, police report, photos of door damage, neighbor statements. Calm, factual, professional. The footage was particularly damning. Clear view of her face, every word she screamed, watching her kick the door repeatedly. Then my sister's lawyer's turn. Started with narrative about struggling single mother, systematically isolated from family by my pattern of abuse. Showed the video of me dragging her out at the birthday party. Had printouts of my heated social media posts. Made it sound like I was running a harassment campaign against a vulnerable woman. Judge looked bored through most of it. Then asked, "Counselor, does your client deny showing up at plaintiff's home at 2:17 a.m.? My client admits she went to her sister's home, Your Honor, but maintains she wasn't intoxicated and only wanted to talk. Police report indicates she failed breathalyzer at .13. Are you disputing test accuracy?" Lawyer paused. "No, Your Honor, but..." So she was legally intoxicated on someone else's property at 2 a.m., causing disturbance resulting in property damage requiring police intervention. Correct? The context of their relationship? I'm asking yes or no questions. Counselor. Was she or was she not intoxicated on plaintiff's property at 2 a.m.? Yes, Your Honor. Judge turned to my sister. Do you have anything to say? My sister stood. Her lawyer tried stopping her, but she was already talking. Your Honor, my sister's been abusing me for years. Turned my whole family against me. Attacked me at her daughter's party, and now she's using the legal system to continue harassment. I went that night desperate to make her understand how much she's hurting me. Yes, I'd been drinking, but I have anxiety and was self-medicating. Ma'am, Judge interrupted. Self-medicating with alcohol, then showing up at someone's home at 2 a.m. isn't a defense. It's evidence you need help. I do need help, because my sister is destroying my life. Judge looked at her for a long moment, then at me. Do you have anything to add? I stood. My lawyer had advised staying quiet, but I needed to say this. Your Honor, my sister has never faced consequences in her entire life. Every time she does something harmful, my family makes excuses. They tell her she's the victim. They enable her to keep behaving this way. I'm not trying to destroy her life. I'm trying to protect mine and my daughter's. We deserve to feel safe in our home. Judge nodded slowly. I'm ordering psychological evaluation before final ruling. Respondent will undergo evaluation within 30 days. Court appointed. Meanwhile, I'm issuing temporary restraining order. Respondent stays at least 200 meters from plaintiff, her home, workplace, and daughter's school. No contact through social media, phone, email, or third parties. Effective immediately until we reconvene after evaluation. My sister started crying. This isn't fair. You're not listening. Ma'am, I watched you kick someone's door while screaming profanities at 2 a.m. I reviewed police reports showing you highly intoxicated. I've seen damage you caused. There isn't another side. Those are facts. Evaluation will determine if underlying mental health issues need addressing, but regardless, this order is necessary for everyone's safety. She sobbed. My mother rushed over. My father looked at me with an expression I couldn't read. Anger, yes, but also maybe resignation. Outside, my lawyer shook my hand. Psychological evaluation is great for your case. If she's diagnosed, and based on what I saw, she probably will be, it strengthens permanent restraining order. My husband and I walked to our car in silence. Once inside, I just sat there, hands on steering wheel. How do you feel? Relieved, and sad, and guilty, and angry, all at once. That's probably normal. Is it, though? Is any of this normal? He squeezed my shoulder. We drove home and I slept 14 hours straight. The psychological evaluation took 3 weeks. I lived in weird limbo, waiting for the other shoe to drop while trying to exist normally. The restraining order meant no contact with my sister or parents, which was both terrifying and liberating. My daughter noticed immediately. How come Grandma and Grandpa haven't visited? My husband and I had discussed this. Agreed on age-appropriate honesty. They need time to work through some grown-up problems. It doesn't have anything to do with you. They still love you very much. Did they, though? I wasn't sure anymore. They loved the idea of her, maybe. But had they ever actually shown up? They'd missed her last 2 birthday parties, one helping my sister move, another because my nephew had a cold. Never came to a single school event. Saw her maybe 6 times last year. The restraining order was clarifying. Forced me to see how little they'd actually been present. Forced me to realize I'd been doing all the emotional labor maintaining relationships with people who didn't prioritize me or my daughter. 3 weeks later, call from my lawyer. Call. Evaluation complete. Judge wanted to reconvene in 2 days. Do you know what it said? Not details, but they're recommending continued intervention. Usually not great news for respondent. Second hearing was less dramatic. My sister showed up more put together but defeated. Her expensive lawyer wasn't there. My parents had run out of money. She had help from a public defender. Judge reviewed evaluation results. I couldn't see the report, but watched her face as she read. Lots of nodding, some frowning. Finally, she looked up. Court-appointed psychologist diagnosed respondent with narcissistic personality disorder with dependent features. Evaluation notes consistent pattern of manipulation, lack of empathy, inability to accept responsibility. Psychologist recommends intensive therapy and has concerns about parenting capacity. My sister stood. This is my sister's fault. She's the one. Ma'am, sit down, Judge said. Not unkindly. I understand this is difficult, but evaluation is thorough and diagnosis based on extensive interviews and testing. This isn't about blame. This is recognizing you need help. I don't need help. I need my family to stop attacking me. Public defender tried getting her to sit and be quiet. She eventually did, glaring at me like I'd personally written the diagnosis. Judge continued. I'm making the restraining order permanent for 2 years. After 2 years, either party can petition to modify. I'm strongly recommending therapy, though I can't court order it for civil matters. However, she looked at my sister seriously. I'm forwarding this evaluation to family court judge overseeing your son's school case. Given concerns about parenting capacity, they may want their own evaluation. My sister's face went white. You can't take my son. You can't do that. I'm not taking anyone. I'm ensuring appropriate people are aware of relevant information. The restraining order is now in effect for 2 years. 200 meters minimum distance. No contact. Violations result in criminal charges. Understand? My sister nodded but looked somewhere else entirely. Dissociating, maybe. I almost felt bad. Almost. Outside the courthouse, I stood in sun and just breathed. It was over. Actually, over. Legal protection now. My family couldn't just show up anywhere. I was free. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. This is your aunt, Mom's sister. Heard about court. Want you to know I'm proud of you for standing up for yourself. Your mother is furious with me for saying this. But someone needs to tell you. You did the right thing. Your sister needed consequences for decades. Sorry we all failed you by not providing them sooner. I sat in my car and cried. Not sad tears. Release. Years of tension finally leaving my body. That weekend, my husband came home with paint samples. I was thinking, maybe it's time we painted the guest room. Make it something useful. Home office for you or a craft room? We keep it for when family visits. What family? He asked gently. Your parents haven't stayed over in 3 years. My parents prefer hotels. Who are we keeping it for? He was right. Maintaining a guest room for family members who never visited, never stayed, never wanted to be part of our lives beyond superficial. Yeah, let's paint it. Make it a reading room. Big comfy chair, good lighting, shelves for books I never have time for. Perfect. We painted it warm sage green. Built bookshelves. Got a chair that felt like clouds. Every time I sat there with a book and tea, I felt more like myself. Like the person I might have been if I'd grown up in a family that actually saw me. My daughter started therapy. Not because she was traumatized, but we wanted her to have tools I never had. Therapists said she was resilient and well-adjusted. Relief. I started therapy too. Regular weekly sessions unpacking 33 years of dysfunction. Learning I wasn't crazy or demanding or difficult. Just a person who'd finally learned to have boundaries. Nearly 4 years have passed since that birthday party. My daughter just turned 12 and we threw her the party she actually wanted. Small, intimate, just her 5 best friends at an escape room followed by pizza. No stress, no drama, no family tension, just kids being kids. Sometimes she asks about my parents or my sister. I'm honest with her in age-appropriate ways. I tell her that sometimes families can't be together because it's not healthy, and that's okay. That love means protecting the people who matter most, even if that means disappointing others. My sister's life has changed. I don't follow her on social media anymore, but through the small-town grapevine and occasional family updates, I know some things. She did eventually start therapy, not because she wanted to, but because family court mandated it after investigating her parenting. My nephew stayed with her, but she has court-ordered parenting classes and regular check-ins. Last I heard, he was doing better with consistent boundaries finally in place. I hope that's true. He deserves a chance to be a normal kid. My parents tried reaching out a few times that first year. Letters, mostly. My moms were full of guilt trips about how I was breaking apart the family, how they were getting older, and I'd regret this when they were gone. My dads were shorter, angrier. Neither ever actually apologized or acknowledged their role in enabling my sister for decades. I kept the letters in a box in my closet, but I never responded. Then, about 18 months ago, my grandmother reached out. She called and asked if she could visit, just her. I agreed, cautiously. She sat in my reading room, the one that used to be the guest room, and looked around at the bookshelves, the comfortable chair, the life I'd built without them. "I've been thinking a lot," she said, "about how we raised your mother, about the patterns that get passed down. Your mother's sister, your aunt who messaged you, she told me some things I didn't want to hear, about how we treated them differently too, how it damages people." "It does," I said simply. "I can't fix the past, but I want to know my great-granddaughter, and I want you to know that I see you now. I see what we did, and I'm sorry. It wasn't everything, but it was something." She visits every few months now. She and my daughter bake together. She never brings up my sister or my parents unless I ask first. She respects my boundaries. My aunt, my mom's sister, has also stayed in touch. She told me that my parents are struggling financially, having drained their retirement supporting my sister. They're trying to get her to move back in with them to save on rent. The cycle continues, just in a smaller orbit that doesn't include me. I don't feel guilty about that anymore. Therapy helped. Understanding that I'm not responsible for fixing problems I didn't create, that was huge. Learning that boundaries aren't punishment, they're protection, that was everything. My marriage is stronger. My husband says I'm lighter now, less weighed down by trying to earn love from people who were never going to give it freely. My daughter is thriving. She's confident, kind, has healthy friendships. She's never had to compete for attention or wonder if she matters. That alone makes every difficult choice worth it. I still have complicated feelings about my sister. I hope she's genuinely working on herself. I hope her son is okay. But I also know that her healing isn't my responsibility. I spent 31 years being collateral damage in her drama. I'm done with that. Sometimes I think about what I'd say to my younger self, the one who kept trying to earn her parents' approval, who wondered if she was too sensitive or too demanding. I'd tell her she wasn't the problem, that choosing herself wasn't selfish, that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is walk away from people who refuse to see you. The restraining order expired last year, but I renewed it for another 2 years. I'm not sure what I'll do when it does. Part of me thinks my sister won't reach out anyway. Narcissists hate being held accountable, and I became that accountability. Part of me is prepared for another round of drama if she does. But here's what I know for certain. I have a daughter who knows she's loved unconditionally. I have a husband who supports me completely. I have a home that feels peaceful. I have boundaries that protect my family. I have a life that's mine, not one dictated by dysfunctional family patterns. That 3-tier pineapple cake was expensive, but learning to value myself, that was priceless. And honestly, I'd destroy that cake myself 100 times over if it meant getting here, to this place where I'm finally free.